What is going on, everyone? It is Angry Gamer Online, and today I've got for you a comparison between the cars that I think are the top 5 supercars, and basically I wanted to test them all together and see which one is the fastest supercar. I chose the track cutting corners simply because it's not too long. It takes about a minute, 10 seconds, something like that, so the video doesn't drag on too long, and it has a good combination of long straights, tight corners, and some more sort of loose corners. So it's a good track to sort of test all the cars and all the different aspects. So I picked the 5 supercars that I think are in with a shot of being the top cars. Obviously, first we have the Adder, and this car it was always thought of as the best supercar simply because it resembled the Bugatti Veyron, which is known as the world's fastest car. Now, there's always been dispute over whether the Adder or the Entity was the fastest, and hopefully I'm going to put that to bed now. And as we can see, the Adder is going round. Now, I did this in reverse order, so it actually turns out that the Adder is the slowest of the 5 supercars that I tested, which I think for some people will be surprising. Now, I think in a straight it is the fastest car, but around the corners and the acceleration it isn't that good. So as we can see, the Adder comes in with a time of 1 minute 10.798 seconds. And now it is the turn of the Cheetah. I thought the Cheetah would have been in last place, simply because I always saw it as sort of the bottom of the supercars, and I didn't expect it to beat the Adder, but it did, not by much, as we'll see in a minute. But as we can see, the Cheetah I think is a little bit better in acceleration. I think it's slightly lower, and it just has better grip in the corners. It doesn't roll so much and has better acceleration out of the corners. And as we can see, the Cheetah there, it hit the curb as it went around that corner, but it still continued very, very flat, which is great. I think also the Cheetah is one of the easiest cars to control in the game. It's not the fastest, but it is very, very easy to control. It doesn't spin out easily at all, which is brilliant if you're not the best driver in the world. I'd say I'm a fairly good driver. However, I thought the Cheetah was one of the easiest cars to control, which is nice. And as we can see, the Cheetah is approaching the final bend, the really tight one. Taking that nicely, and then... And as we can see in a minute, the Cheetah has a time of 1 minute 9.633 seconds. And now the Turismo came in 3rd place out of the 5 cars I tested. Now, the Turismo is one of my favourite cars in the game. It came in the High Life update, I believe. In fact, no, the business update, sorry. It came in the business update. And the Turismo, it really is a nice car. It resembles a McLaren P1. I do have this as a personal vehicle. However, in these tests, I do not use personal vehicles, simply because you couldn't compare cars that were not all fully upgraded. So I used all the basic model cars, no upgrades to any of these cars, which allows us to have a good comparison. I would say the Turismo and the Cheetah are very, very similar in terms of the way they handle. They sound very similar, they feel very similar, and they take corners in a very similar way. I'd say they're almost identical, but obviously I think Rockstar just changed the shape of them a little bit and stuff. And there we go, the Turismo finished in a time of 1 minute 8.857. And now it is the turn of the mighty Entity XF. I used to have this car as a personal vehicle, however I did lose it trying to do a glitch, and then replaced it with the Turismo R, I think maybe the next day, simply because it was a bit cheaper. But yeah, the Entity is it's definitely one of the fastest cars in the game. It is definitely faster than the Adder, so we can now put that argument to bed about which is faster out of the Adder and the Entity. The Entity doesn't quite have the same top speed, it's a little bit slower. However, it is much, much better in the corners. This car is absolutely fantastic. It corners really, really flat. It's just a great car to drive, really. It looks brilliant. However, there aren't a lot of customization options, but who cares, to be honest. And there he goes, we approach the line. Entity XF did it in 1 minute 8.54 seconds, so that's a little bit quicker than Turismo, but not that much quicker. So the Turismo and the Entity are very, very close in terms of how fast they are. Now it is the turn of the new car, which was brought in the, I think it was the High Life update, yep. This is the Zentorno, and this is my favourite car in the game. It looks brilliant, it is brilliant, and it is the fastest car, supercar anyway, in the game. After this race, I do test my custom Zentorno just to see how much of a difference the upgrades on the car actually make. Because obviously everyone customises their cars to the max, just so they can say they've got a fully upgraded car. But I wanted to see, is it actually worth it, and how much time you do manage to knock off your lap times depending on what upgrade you have. So after this, as I say, I do test my custom Zentorno. But firstly, let's see how the stock model Zentorno does. And there we go, around the final bend. I have to say, I do think this car sounds absolutely brilliant, by the way. And there we go, across the line, 1 minute 6.236 seconds. That is a lot faster than the Entity XF. So by a long way, the Zentorno is the fastest of the supercars. Now, finally, it is my custom Zentorno, and already you can see this is blisteringly fast. This pulls away from the line so quick, leaving every other car behind. And the first corner, taking a wide line in, and straight out the corner, putting down all that power again. And I'll tell you now, this car absolutely monsters the rest of the field by an absolute mile. I think it nearly does it in sub a minute. It's just a little bit off. Oh, bit of a bump there, but anyway. And around this corner. But yeah, already you can see how far ahead this car is from the rest of the cars tested. And as we can now see, this car does it in nearly less than a minute. So 1 minute 0.714 seconds, which is blisteringly fast. That means that there is an improvement of around 6 seconds. So yes, it is definitely worth upgrading your cars. And I can also conclude that the Zentorno is the fastest car in the supercar category. I hope you all enjoy. I've been Angry Gamer Online, and I will speak to you in a bit. See ya.